So today we're talking about the battle of the governors, Ron DeSantis of Florida and Gavin Newsom of California. They're getting together Thursday night for a televised debate being moderated by Sean Hannity. Now, DeSantis and Newsom are vying to be the future of both of their respective parties. They're both governors, they're both aspiring presidents. And depending on who you ask, they're seen as either rising or fading stars within their party. Now, for his part, Ron DeSantis is the darling of right-wing media and the Republican Party, if not the Republican primary voters that have largely rebuked his presidential aspirations. Now, let's assume for a moment that someone on DeSantis' team has taught him how to smile or laugh like a normal human being. Now, all expressions aside, Ron DeSantis has not fared that well on the debate stage in the past, and there's no hope of a Republican winning the state of California in a presidential contest anytime soon. So why exactly is Ron DeSantis agreeing to do this debate? Well, DeSantis has seen his campaign flounder in recent months, falling behind Nikki Haley in polling for the Republican nomination for president, and he's looking for any way to turn his campaign around, and beating up on an elitist, latte drinking tree hugger from California might just be the way to do that. We're expecting Ron DeSantis to play up his handling of COVID-19 in Florida, despite the fact that they've got one of the highest both case rates and death rates in the country. We also think that he'll cover border security and immigration, such as when he trafficked immigrants from Texas to Martha's Vineyard. Finally, we also think that he'll look to highlight his defense of free speech, more so for Nazis than for book authors, teachers, Palestinians, Disney, or anybody else who happens to disagree with him. But some would argue with DeSantis falling in the polls, shouldn't he be spending his time more wisely, actually focusing on something that's going to help him perhaps win the Republican nomination, like preparing for the fourth and final Republican primary debate next week? Now, for his part, Newsom is a Biden ally and is expected to play the role of a Biden surrogate during this debate. Now, this might be somewhat difficult as Fox News has already released the expected topics of the debate, which include border security, immigration, inflation, and crime. Now, for those political scientists out there, you might recognize those topics as being what we call captured by the Republican Party. Now, what that means is that the public at large largely believe that the Republican Party is more competent at dealing with those types of topics. Things like education and the environment are topics that are considered captured by the Democratic Party and are not expected to be a part of tomorrow's debate. So Newsom is expected to have some challenges as he tries to bring up some Biden wins, such as the bipartisan infrastructure law, the PAC Act, the American Climate Corps, and other topics that would be seen as being more positive for Democrats. Now, you should also expect Newsom to come out swinging, as DeSantis has historically shown to either freeze or lash out like a petulant child anytime that he's challenged. With no one else on the debate stage to hide behind, you should expect Newsom to key in on that weakness, try to get under DeSantis' skin, and throw him off his game. But the larger question might be, why did Newsom agree to do this debate in the first place? He's not actually running for anything, and the VP position is locked up by Kamala Harris. So yes, the two men will showcase a vastly different approach to being governor, but to what ends? Who cares? Perhaps Newsom is taking the fading star comments to heart. Maybe he's just trying to increase his national exposure and try to keep himself in the top tier like Michigan's Gretchen Whitmer or Illinois' J.B. Pritzker. Some have even called Newsom's decision to debate a win-win since he has nothing to lose because he's not actually running for anything. But this seems like an unforced error to me. This seems like offering DeSantis a lifeline for his increasingly sinking campaign. Now, you could argue that there's a little bit of 3D chess going on here, that Ron DeSantis could be more beatable than Donald Trump. Therefore, anything that the Democrats can do to highlight Ron DeSantis and help Ron DeSantis win the primary could mean a better outcome for Democrats in the general election. But call me crazy though, I don't see a lot of 3D chess going on in American politics these days. So who's going to win this debate? Well, that depends on how you define winning. If you define winning as whoever gets the most applause, the most media attention, the most donations, then Ron DeSantis may very well have the advantage here. But if you define winning as whoever's got the policies that make the most sense for the average American citizen, or who comes across as the most stable, then I'm pretty sure that Newsom's got it locked in. But if DeSantis comes out of this unscathed, or even sees any kind of a bump that comes out of it, I can tell you who the loser's gonna be, and that's gonna be the American people. Either way, you can be sure that I'll be tuned in to the Battle of the Governors, if only to see Ron DeSantis's weird robot smile, and then I'll give you my take on who came out ahead next week. Thanks for watching. I'm Florida Politics Guy, and if you like videos like these, please make sure to like, share, or subscribe as we cover the upcoming Florida legislative session and efforts by Florida Republicans to subvert democracy and engage in culture wars instead of actually fixing the problems that face everyday Floridians. Until next time.